Scottsboro work session Monday, July 15th to order. The invocation given by Greg Mashburn and the pledge of allegiance given by myself.
Let's pray. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Lord, we thank you for all your wonderful blessings. Lord, we thank you for our city, watching over it, Lord, and all our employees. We ask that you'll always protect them and guide them in what they need to do. Lord, as we go about the city's business tonight, we ask you to lead, guide, and direct us in everything that we do. All this we ask in thy name for our sake. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Don't try to kill us all.
We'll take item number 4 off. Go to item number 1, discuss pickup truck bids for the fire department.
Mr. President, Scottsboro Fire Department requested bids for a 2019 to include a garage pickup truck to replace a 19 or 20-year-old model. This will be purchased out of fire tax funds, and the replacement was in the projected budget for the fire tax expenditures. One bid was posted, 3 bid invitations were mailed, received 1 bid. It was recommended by the bid review committee that the bid be awarded to Harlan Chevrolet in the amount of $40,771.50 as the only responsible bidder in that specifications.
If I could just quickly on that older model, I talked with Stacy and he thinks they probably have some use for it, so we'll proceed with this, and that'll be the intent of that truck, just with the, I guess, request that if and when they surplus and sell, that money will come back into the fire department. But other than that, we don't have any use for it. It's just time to fade it out of running up and down emergency roads. So, any other questions about this, I'll be glad to answer them. Like I said, all of that projected out of our fire tax.
Any questions?
Is this outright buying, or is this going through source well?
It's an outright buy, and based on my conversations with Chevrolet, and the differences, that's why we had to go through a bid process. He said, based on their rebates that Chevrolet would give them on fleet side of things, this was the easiest way and the cheapest way to do it. So,
Any other questions? We'll put on next week's agenda. Don't go too far.
I'm going to use right here.
Next item is discuss the fire station number 3 building repairs. Gene?
Yeah, so I didn't know how we were leading into that. We met, Councilman Ashburn mentioned, I think last week, that he would like to discuss this, so I don't want to, if you've got topics, I don't want to take away from that, so.
Well, the committee with the fire department did meet last week along with Chief Nicholas and with the mayor, and went over the specs on the remodel of firehouse number 3. And according to Mr. Wood, I think it's $195,000 from an old bond that could go toward this project. But if you'll notice on the handout, we're about $143,631 short on the required repairs. Now, when we talked about piecemeal this to start with, but just doing part of it, but the way that this remodel is going to happen, we're going to be redoing the roof and redoing the air conditioning, and in the living quarters and all, it's got to be redone. So you can't hardly piecemeal it. You got to put ductwork in on that, because that's part of the problem. We're going to have to raise the ceiling up another foot from what it is right now. So it would be better if we could go ahead and just try to get all of it at one time. And I was going to make some suggestion or get some discussion from y'all. I was going to come up with $143,000. We did have some discussion as to maybe taking that $143,000 out of the current bond and somehow paying it back through, if we have extra sales tax, or maybe budget items in the next fiscal year, which will be here before we know it.
If I could just add to that, thank you. If I could just add to that, this idea and concept of redoing this fire station is over 5 years old now. And the original idea was to raise that entire building and come from the ground up. And that was to be included with the 2016 $3 million bond with a budget of $500,000, which may or may not have been enough at that time. But regardless, because other projects and other things that we're aware of, they got pushed back and held back. The fire station project did, like others. So in that process, we scaled this thing down as much as we could. I don't know how much we saved off of 2014 dollars, but we scaled back to a major remodel, just trying to accomplish some significant improvements, covering that flat roof. We have some moisture issues, HVAC and humidity issues that we have a good plan, improving some energy efficiency items in that thing. This is a late 70s design building, so we can make a lot of improvements to that thing to give it some sustainability that will last us for a long time. But again, we don't want to start in without having a committed amount that we can spend, because as you know, if you built a house or remodeled a house, one thing leads to the next, and if you fix this, then you got to fix something else, because they all tie together. So, and I'll note on the existing bond, the 2016 bond, we did have to make some emergency repairs out of that. So that number 195 is a little bit off, but I still believe if you look at the number 2, we can make that work, because there was some contingency built into those estimates, about 8% contingency built in. So I think we have enough room to make that work. Lastly, I'll say, and then answer any questions. Obviously, we need this money. I don't, just as a commitment, just so that we can proceed with this project in confidence that we can complete everything we need to. I project this budget to be high, these estimates to be high, and I can assure you, just because you allocate us a certain amount of money doesn't mean we're going to try to spend it all. We're going to accomplish what we set out to accomplish, and anything else will remain wherever it comes from.
Some of this money on the current bond will be spent for a year or two, and I thought it might give us time to, if we're fortunate enough to be over on sales tax still, we can pay this back. Of course, this is something that's not guaranteed that we're going to be over on sales tax, but I believe that we will have, if it comes to that, we might could work it into the next year's budget if the sales tax figures don't look good. But he needs basically needs an okay to go on, to get this project started. He needs an okay for this amount of money.
Anyone have any questions?
Need to know about the bond. Can you do that?
I'm not certain that you can.
That's what I was.
I have to look at the bond issue to be absolutely sure. I'm not certain that you can.
Rick, what is your financial discussion on this?
Well, when we did the bond issue, there was some excess money that was in the amount the total amount that we did. And with the bond issue, you have to designate certain items and amounts to each item. And I think there's probably some that hasn't been designated that would have to be, have to go through, and you have to designate that. That's probably what Mr. Kim was talking about somewhat, but that's one of the things that you have to look at.
This wouldn't be taking money from that bond if we borrowing.
Interpretation.
Right.
I think, because Rick and I have had this discussion about a similar project, and the way it's set up with Wilmington, we're drawing interest off that bond money, and then we have to pay request as we draw off of that. So we would have to, like Mr. Kimmer said, I think, submit a letter stating the amount of funds that we would want to allocate up to, I guess, and get their approval. And then it would just, I guess when we depleted the other amount, that 195 or whatever that is, then any excess we'd have to, they would have had to sign off and take it from that $4 billion, basically. Is that correct, Rick?
I'd like to see some, if we can't do it in the current bond, I'd like to have some discussion maybe of how we could make this work. I hate for this project to just be put off again.
Right.
And I agree with you, Mike, on it. I think it's something that's needed more than anything. And, but my issue is with sales tax, is what I'm concerned with. Yeah, like from month to month, it's down, you know. So that's a big concern. It's just,
And I understand, and I appreciate everybody's sentiment on wanting to do it. And, you know, if this needs to stretch out, but I certainly want it on your radars, certainly want it in the back of your minds as we go, because frankly, like any other structure, the longer we wait, it's not going to get any cheaper, and it's not going to fix itself. So, you know, if whether that's addressed in the budget or when that's addressed, you know, I don't have the exact perfect answer. That's what you're here for. But anything that I can do to encourage you to keep it in your mind, that's what I'd like.
well, we can look at it, because they're getting ready to cut timber, right? I mean, that's out, or bid, so it is. And we can see how that goes, you know, and look at that also. So don't give up on us.
I won't give up, but I won't quit till reminding you.
Well,
Well, it's definitely on our radar. You and I have had several discussions about it, and everybody else is getting involved. What I'd like to do, Mike, since you're the one who brought it up, is get you, the mayor, and make sure I get everybody listed on here.
Gary's on it.
Well, I'm gonna put the page on there. The mayor, Wheeler, Ashburn, Bailey, and you, if y'all can meet and discuss it. And then we won't have a meeting on the end of the month on the 29th, because it's this Monday, but we'll have a work session on the 5th of August. Kind of see where we may stand, because we may get some numbers back too on some sales tax numbers.
And in the meantime, I'll continue to work on more firm estimates, if that will help some.
That work. Thank you. Anybody else have anything?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Number 3 is discuss the appropriation from the tourism grant for Goose Pond events. Mayor, do you want to talk about that?
Don't know about this.
Apparently, there is, I believe you sponsored in the amount of $4,000 at Goose Pond for the last tournament. And there is a $755.52 expenditure that's not.
Yeah, I know about it. It's something that y'all discussed in the budget.
Right.
And you actually just did, you didn't appropriate the money at that time out of the tourism grant fund.
Yeah.
And that's what this is just a formalizing you putting that money from tourism grant fund over to pay those two items.
I was gonna say, because I thought, you know, when Meg came forward, she asked, I think it was for up to $15,000.
It really had, no, these two things doesn't have anything to do with me, really.
Okay.
This is just the fireworks for the 4th of July, and it's like $750 for the tournament that was back in March.
So it's $4,755.52.
Back when we did the budget process, we talked about it, but
Yeah,
when it came time to actually
it's
appropriate.
one of those things y'all diverted from the general fund budget over to pay out of the tourism. And now it's time to pay that out.
Thank you. Any questions on that? We'll put that on next week's budget. I mean,
Yeah.
next week's agenda. we'll go to reports.
Well, while you were talking to Rick, there was a few things we needed to do about paving also, the same way. There was some money that we needed to transfer over, need to be talked about during the work session before we can do it at a meeting. No, we couldn't pass it last week because we got to do the work session first.
We agreed that the streets are going to be paid.
Right.
Yeah,
We voted on that.
but the actual money,
The money was like 150,000 short on, I think what he's talking
just
about.
we'll make sure we put it on next work session. See what the money's for.
I've got the sales tax analysis that Rick sent us, if y'all want to discuss it tonight.
We can.
Or you will wait till the next work session?
No, let's go ahead and discuss it.
Rick, you want one? It's your.
Just in case there's. What you've got is what Rick has sent us that's, at different times during this fiscal year that we've allocated expenditures out of sales tax. And we had agreed, probably 6 weeks, a couple of months ago, on the knuckle booms, we had set aside $141,456 out of sales tax to purchase that, and then we made the decision to finance that, so that would need to be removed. And then you've got on down 2 knuckle boom lease payments for June through September. For the other 2 trucks, $7,769. Well, at this point, it looks like those expenditures for those payments won't be in this fiscal year, the way they're running behind. So you've got those 3 knuckle boom purchases that we'd agreed to finance with First Jackson Bank when the trucks come in. And Rick and I had talked, and the monthly payment was pretty much this amount, but it's not going to be in this fiscal year, from what we're hearing from Lee Smith. So you've got those three things on the knuckle boom. Then we had discussions on the solid waste department. The dump truck, it was $50,000 there, and then the pickup truck, it was $39,899. But those 2 purchases would be moved over to the solid waste capital outlay fund. So that would, those 5 items would be basically freeing up that amount of sales tax.
It'd be $246,000.
$893 that would be freed up in the sales tax. Pretty good.
To his office.
But those are there is one thing on here, since he had printed this, the mower for the street department that we purchased is $14,025. It hadn't been added, so you could deduct that from the $246. You missed out.
I did.
I think this is the one that you were talking about where it shows that there's 150,000
Yeah.
less. And this is the funds that you have available. there's $1,224,505 that you have available from those sources there on that sheet. And then underneath it is the items that you had agreed on to do, which was on that sheet of paper that you talked about last week. Those items come up to $1,381,963. So there's a deficit of $157,000 on the items that you had requested that you do. Now, all these items probably won't get completed in this year because we're in July.
Yeah.
So if status quo goes from what you've done in the past, there would be an additional $200,000 that you'd put in paving for next year's budget. So that would more than cover that.
What we talked about on the sales tax analysis, the knuckle boom, we agreed that 141 to finance it, and then the 2 lease payments we had on there that we'd allocated the money, but based on the way the trucks are running, we're not going to make those lease payments in this fiscal year, or finance those. So those 3 funds, and then the 2 solid waste department purchases, the dump truck, we'd allocated $50,000 out of sales tax and $39,899 out of sales tax for the pickup that could be purchased out of solid waste capital outlay.
So you don't think we'll get the knuckle boom this year?
I don't know that they'll be in, we're waiting to hear back from them, but I don't know if they'll be here this fiscal year in the second. We're hoping, but.
Well, what are we gonna do about all the brush?
Yeah, what are we doing? We got one running right now?
No, but they're up and running. Everything's back up right now. Well, that can change tomorrow.
And you said it's 246, what, then take 14.
If you take those 5 items, it's 246,893.
And you've got to take 14.
We've got to take the mower for the street department off, which was $14,025.
Mr. Kendall, would they have to go back and do something to reverse that, what they've already appropriated them? Because they've already in a council meeting appropriated that money.
If it's been appropriated, and it's reflected as appropriated in the minutes, it would need to be changed by both the council and reflected in the minutes.
So if you desire to do those 3 items, then that's what you have to do.
Okay.
So that's what you're saying is we're 232,868 over.
Based on the way it stands right now, we've committed, we're 85,000 as far as commitments in the hole.
But taking these things off,
Yeah.
it'll change that number.
To 160 something positive.
Okay.
Yeah, 169.71.
So for the streets.
How much you say?
169.71.
So we've got that much that's not committed.
We'll get that on the next work session, which will be the 5th. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Rick.
We'll go to reports now. Mayor?
Just one thing I had given y'all last week, an RFP about the Gooseman Island property, giving you an updated version today. Mr. Kimmer had looked at this. We just included what the current sales tax for the city of Scottsboro is and our current lodging tax. We have interested parties that I would like to recommend that, as with anything, final approval of any actions takes full council approval, but I'd like to proceed, just submit this information to folks that are interested.
Are they gonna come and talk to us, or?
They would, once we send it out, then any interested party would come back before the council, yes, sir. That's all I have.
Mr. Ashton?
Had a few inquiries about over here on Willow Street, what used to be the J&W motel. I believe that's property that was acquired by the Commercial Development Authority.
That is correct.
So just want to let people know what's going on. They're
Slowly being demolished.
demolishing the old buildings and just trying to make improvements on it.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Slow cleanup process.
Mr. Bale?
Just excited about Parks Avenue getting started, excited about that bridge finally gonna be replaced.
Got a lot done today.
And so,
They really did.
hope people can just be a little patient, have a little patience and know that it's all for a good cause. And just appreciate everybody coming out. Thank y'all.
Mr. Bashford?
Went to the Dixie State Girls softball this weekend, and I was really impressed. I want to give Vaughn a lot of credit, and all her people, they're doing an outstanding job. It's something to be proud of. They're really doing a good job with the fields, and I think the street department's done some work over there too. So we really appreciate all them, the work they've done. The brush trucks, they are still down, 3 of them's down. And I want to see something, we got to do something, because there's a lot of brush piling up, and I've got several complaints and concerns about it. If we need to lease something, I know they're working a lot of hours, so I'd like to see something done with that if we can.
Sure.
That's all I got. Thank y'all for coming.
Thank you. Just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. In the baseball, I'm in the softball tournament, apparently it's going really well. I got a phone call today from Brian. He told me about how many teams and who was left. A lot of southern states, so they're staying in their hotels because they're not driving back and forth. So, I appreciate what y'all do, Yvonne. So that being said, we'll adjourn the work session, and y'all want to hang around for the solid waste disposal authority meeting.